Hello there, welcome to the video for Neo-Pagan November Day 11. The prompt for Day 11 was Divination. I'm running a little bit late with the video, but I'm trying to stay on top of things. So this is Neo-Pagan November is a challenge started by Brittany the Sunshine State Witch, in which we are given a prompt every day of November, and we are encouraged to make a video or a short that talks about that prompt. So today's prompt is divination, and divination is the art of foretelling future events or revealing things that are unknown. And when I think about divination, I often think about the subconscious and how a lot of the times when I use the tarot, I help myself and others to uncover things within the subconscious. So my most used form of divination is the tarot. I have this tarot here. It's the Golden Tarot of Klimt, and it's not that it's the second deck that I ever got. I don't remember what my first deck was, but I remember my second deck was the Golden Tarot of Klimt. And this isn't the actual copy that I got as my second deck, but I replaced it because I remember this was a deck that I had as my second deck. So the tarot is a divination tool with 21 major arcana and 56 minor arcana, I think, but don't quote me on that. There are 4 suits: cups, wands, swords, and pentacles, and within each suit there are 10 minor arcana and 4 court cards. So the tarot is my favorite divination tool, and I have many tarot decks. The second deck type of divination tool that a lot of people use, and they find it easier than the tarot, are oracle cards. Here I have the Moonology oracle cards, and Farah Nadila was talking about how a lot of the time in divination people want to know why, when things are going to happen. And I thought that the Moonology oracle cards were good cards for answering when, because they give a moon phase in each card. So this is the full moon in Libra. So if you were going to ask when, and you drew a card that said the full moon in Libra or new moon in Pisces, then you would be able to look up when the next new moon in Pisces would be, and then you would be able to know when that thing would happen. So that's those are oracle cards, and they're not like the tarot. They don't follow any specific system. It's just really whatever the author and creator wants to talk about in each card, they're free to do so. And they usually follow a theme. I have a little book of palm reading. Palm reading is another form of divination. In this one, they talk about the nails, the hands, the lines in the hands, what the different lines mean, like the way the lines are formed, what that means, how long the lines are. So palmistry is another form of divination. I have a little palm reading book here, but I've never done palm reading myself. I've never had my palm read, and I've never done palm reading, but I've looked at this book and I've looked at my own hands, my own nails, and tried to figure out what that meant for me. So I've tried to figure that out for myself. Another form of divination that I find to be very fascinating, and I've always wanted to learn, and I still want to learn, and I actually bought a course from a content creator that teaches astrology, but I haven't really had a lot of time to delve into it. But I have this book, The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need, by Joanne Martin Woolfolk. The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need. And in this book, this fell out. In this book, they go over the sun signs, the moon signs, the rising signs, you know, how to read your chart. It's very detailed, and astrology is reading the stars, the planets, and how they affect the earth. And it's a lot of people read their astrology every day, and they find out what that means for their lives. So astrology is a very popular means of divination, and I would love to learn more about it. It's one of my favorite means of divination, but I don't use it specifically myself. But I think within astrology, the moon is a luminary within astrology. And so when we talk about the moon phases and the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse and the different types of moons and how they affect the earth, I believe that falls under the umbrella of astrology. So when people are talking about the full moon or the new moon or the waning moon or the waxing moon, or the lunar eclipse or the solar eclipse, they're talking about astrology in reality, because they're talking about how the moon is affecting us here on earth. The next thing I have is my crystal ball, which is another form of divination. It's a form of divination known as scrying. And this was my first crystal ball. And I have used it quite a bit for myself, and I've used it in a few of my YouTube videos. I love this crystal ball. I find it to be so magical, and I remember when I first purchased this crystal ball, how enthusiastic I was about it, and how, you know, what I do to read the crystal ball, I don't necessarily do it in the dark, although some people do. What I do is I look at the crystal ball and I see the shapes, the forms that are forming in the crystal ball, and I'll use my intuition to string the symbols and shapes together to create sentences and to create a message. So that's how I use my crystal ball. And I also have witches runes and Nordic runes, but they're underneath everything, so I don't want to take them out. I actually made them myself. So I have witch runes and Nordic runes. And I have a black crystal ball as well. It's a black obsidian crystal ball. People scry in mirrors, black mirrors, and because I love the crystal ball, I was drawn to this black obsidian crystal ball, and it's kind of like scrying in a black mirror or a regular crystal ball. As you see, there's reflections in the black obsidian crystal ball, and I wanted to use the regular crystal ball for myself and for my own needs. After I used it for some videos, I decided I would try to just use it for myself, and that I would use this one for my readings on my Etsy shop. But I haven't listed any readings on my Etsy shop for this black crystal ball. But so the crystal ball is another form of divination. I know I have a friend of mine, she uses seashells for divination, she uses bones for divination. You can use a smoke for divination, you can use a candle flame for divination, you can use water for divination, you can pour wax on the water and use that for divination. Like, the candle is a whole sort of divination. Like, if you light a candle, you can read the flame, you can read the smoke when you put out the flame, and then you can read the wax when you pour the wax in the water with the candle that you are using. So that's a whole other sort of divination. Oh yes, my last thing that I have here is in a box, and it's actually for tasseomancy. It's a teacup for tasseomancy, which is tea leaf reading, and it actually comes with a spoon as well. So what you do with this to read the tea leaves is you'll make a tea with loose leaf tea. You don't put it in a bag, you just leave it loose, and you drink the tea, and you leave a tiny little bit of liquid at the bottom with the tea leaves, the loose tea leaf, and you swish it around the cup, and then you take a piece of Scott towel and you turn the cup over on the Scott towel to absorb the rest of the liquid, and then you look at the forms that the tea leaves have made and where they have fallen, like if they've fallen in the sign of Gemini or the moon or Libra, or Aquarius. Like, you can read the shapes of the tea leaves, what the shapes are saying to you, what they're symbolizing, and also where they're falling in the astrological chart, or the sun, or Venus, or Mercury, and so on and so forth. So that's another form of divination, tea leaf reading. And I'm sure there are many other forms of divination. I would love to be skilled in all of them. I'd love my job to just be to do divination in all sorts of ways, and do that as a fortune teller, but that's just a dream job that I'd love to have. And at this point, I don't think I have enough time to learn and master all the forms of divination that you can actually practice. But I'm happy with the tarot. The tarot is my most favorite form of divination. I started reading the tarot when I was in my 20s, and now I'm in my 40s, so it's been a while. Anyway, so that's my video on divination. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you for the next video, which is day 12, and it's music.